welcome to the news brief on the unofficial WWE podcast. I am your host, Amanda Gynn. I am recording on Saturday, November the 13th, 2021. I will apologize in advance for my voice or lack thereof. For those of you who don't know, I actually attended SmackDown with my husband last night. I had an amazing experience. However, my voice did suffer, so I will definitely be discussing my experience on the Weekend Review with Matt tomorrow night, so you guys definitely check that out. But enough about me. Let's jump on into the news stories that I uncovered from this past week. The first one is about Mustafa Ali. The article is stating that he is addressing a recent promo that was deemed controversial. This is by Aaron Rift on NoDQ.com. It was dated for today. So it says on October 29th, 2021 edition of WWE SmackDown, Mustafa Ali said the following in a promo about Drew McIntyre. Excuse me. You people choose to cheer for Drew McIntyre. You choose to root against me. And the only reason you choose to root against me is because my name is Mustafa Ali. Then he took to Twitter on October 30th to write, the only reason you choose to root against me is because my name is Mustafa Ali. Ali followed up he followed up on this promo via Twitter today with the following comments along with the video. A few weeks ago, I made a statement that some deemed controversial. My intentions were to bring a beautiful vision to life. Unfortunately, for reasons beyond my control, I won't be able to make that vision a reality, but I can share with you what could have been. And actually, shout out to Ashley Mann, because she was the one that I saw on my Twitter news feed who retweeted this post in the video. It was just amazing to me. You guys, if you have Twitter, definitely go on there, look for Mustafa Ali. And I believe his Twitter handle is at Ali. That's ALIWWE. I can't just beyond to describe the video. It was awesome. It kind of stinks that he can't move forward with it. I can see it definitely was going to have a lot of good potential, but I can also see why WWE choose to not to move forward with it. So I guess we will just see what's going to be in store next for Mustafa Ali. So the next article I wanted to share is because on my Twitter feed today, I also had been seeing a lot of stuff about Matt Hardy, and I had been seeing all these memes and videos posted up. So this article is titled, Matt Hardy Calls Out People That Think He Botched a Move on AEW Rampage. And this is also by Aaron Rift from NoDQ.com, dated for today. So it says on the November 12th, 2021 edition of AEW Rampage, Matt Hardy defeated Orange Cassidy in a lumberjack match. The Blade used brass knuckles on Cassidy, and then Hardy acted like he was hitting a move on Cassidy so the referee wouldn't be suspicious. Some of the fans felt that there was a botch with Hardy going for an elbow that didn't connect with Cassidy. Hardy addressed the matter via Twitter today. And this is a quote. How are some this dumb when it comes to AEW? A large group of people hate AEW's success and the fact that TK, Tony Khan, is doing things right. These people search for things to pounce on and trash AEW. To intellect fans, it's obvious why I did what I did. It's a social problem on social media. And this was directly from Matt Hardy via Twitter. I did see the video for a split second because, like I said, numerous people were posting it on my Twitter feed today. I can definitely see the botch that happened, but I mean, it's professional wrestling. You're not really connecting these people a lot of times, or you have to be extremely careful with the moves that these wrestlers do so you don't hurt somebody. So, I mean, mistakes happen, so I don't get why some people are getting really bent out of shape about it, and like you said, trying to trash him and AEW because of this matter. So, the next article is about Becky Lynch and Charlotte, and this is coming from SportsIllustrated.com. The author is Jimmy Charania, and it's titled Becky Lynch Addresses Real Life Heat with Charlotte Flair and Says She Doesn't Trust Her. So during an appearance on this week's Sports Illustrated media podcast, WWE Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch opened up about her real-life issues with Charlotte Flair, who had just happens to be Lynch's opponent at Survivor Series on November 21st. Lynch not only said Flair was difficult, but also revealed she doesn't trust her former best friend. On October 22nd's edition of SmackDown, Lynch and Flair were supposed to exchange title belts because they were switching brands. Lynch, the SmackDown champion, was headed to Raw, and Flair, the Raw champion, was headed to SmackDown. According to reports, the script called for Flair to play cat and mouse in handing over the belts. Instead, though, she dropped it on the mat, which was not part of the plan. This led to the two getting into a real-life argument backstage with a heated Lynch confronting Flair. During the Sports Illustrated media podcast, I asked Lynch about the incident and for backstage details. I don't know, man, she said. We don't really talk anymore. We don't talk. So all I'll say is a locker room needs a hero sometimes. And sometimes somebody's gotta be a hero. I'm all right being that hero. That's what I'll say on the matter. I asked Lynch whether having real-life heat with an opponent makes things more difficult. And this is a quote from her. Oh, 100% more difficult, said Lynch. Yeah. That's the thing. When you've got two people that are wanting to work together to make magic, then you make magic. Sometimes when there's hostility, when you can't trust the person, then you never know what's going to happen. You always have to be on guard. It's a game of chess. You have to be thinking 2, 3 steps, 4 steps ahead. What are they going to do? ? How am I going to handle it? If they do this, if they do that, whatever. This business is built on trust and working together. That's the art of it. That's the beauty of it. If I make you look good, you make me look good. It's an art. It's a beautiful art. It's an art I love more than anything. If people don't know how to make that art, then it becomes difficult. It becomes tricky and you never really get the full potential. But there's intrigue there too, because we never know, was this meant to happen? Was that not meant to happen? What's going to go down? There's interest in both ways. One way, it's beautiful, pure art of pro wrestling. The other way, it's a bit of a show. We'll see what happens. The follow-up to that statement by Lynch was this exchange. Do you trust Charlotte Flair? Lynch replied, no. Are things difficult right now with Charlotte Flair? And Becky replied, yes. Were you guys friends and no longer friends? And then she replied, we used to be best friends. Other topics that were discussed during the media podcast include Lynch doing double duty as a mom and professional wrestler and how she balances the two, and whether she thought she might not come back after having a baby, whether she let her daughter become a wrestler, the reception when she returned at SummerSlam, and then the negative reaction to her match at SummerSlam, getting to do a segment with The Rock on the debut episode of SmackDown on Fox, whether she's scripted or unscripted for her promos, and much more. You can listen to that podcast on Apple, Spotify, or Stitcher. You can also watch the Sports Illustrated media podcast on YouTube. I find this article really interesting, especially with the part about Becky and Charlotte being used to be best friends, because I thought I heard some other outlet talked about that there always was a little bit of possible animosity between them. I think more on Charlotte's side than it was on Becky's, because I think WWE was really pushing for Becky and kind of pushing Charlotte to the side a little bit, and I guess Charlotte was feeling some type of way. But it's interesting that we now are hearing Becky's side of things regarding the matter. So I guess you can say it is confirmed that what happened on that episode of SmackDown was not supposed to happen, and that there is a lot of backstage heat with Charlotte, Flair, and the locker room, especially towards Becky Lynch. So I think this is really going to add more to their match at Survivor. Honestly, I think that's probably my top match that I want to see at Survivor Series at this point, because I really want to see how the real life drama is going to play out in their match. And honestly, I think it might even be the match of the night, to be quite honest. So the next article is coming from Wrestling Inc. that was dated for today. This is from Raj Giri, and it's titled Top AEW Stars Out of Action with a Concussion. Lance Archer has been out of action with a concussion, Wrestling Inc. has learned. Archer suffered the concussion during his match with Eddie Kingston on October 23rd edition of AEW Dynamite. During the match, Archer attempted a moonsault off the top rope but ended up landing on his head. He was checked out at ringside by the referee and ringside physician Dr. Michael Sampson. He then got back in the ring, where he was immediately rolled up by Kingston for the win. Archer thanked AEW after the match for taking care of him. He also let his fans know that he will be back soon. And this is a quote from him. "Listen, we choose to do this and take our health and lives in our hands every night. I've done that move hundreds of times over in my career. Just under-rotated. Could have been much worse. Thank you to all at AEW for taking amazing care of me and protecting me. I'll be back," end quote. Archer's in Indianapolis. However, he was not expected to perform at the Full Gear pay-per-view tonight. He is there to rehab his injury as he works towards his in-ring return. We definitely wish him nothing but the best on a speedy recovery. Concussions are definitely no joke, especially in this line of work in professional wrestling. And so many things can just go wrong. And like he said, he's performed this move hundreds of times, and then in just one split second, worst case scenario can happen, which is why they always iterate, never try this stuff at home. But we definitely wish him a speedy recovery and hope he can be cleared soon to return to the ring. And the last article I have for tonight for you guys, and this is shout out to The Crisis. He actually sent this to me to the Discord chat the other day. And this is coming from theringreport.com by Josh Wilding from November the 7th. And it is titled, WWE has given Paige's name away to NXT 2.0 and 205 live referee Chloe Christmas. So this is a weird one, but NXT 2.0 and 205 live referee Chloe Christmas has been given a new name by WWE that actually belongs to former Divas champion Paige. For those of you unfamiliar with Paige, she was forced to retire from in-ring action after suffering a serious neck injury at a WWE house show. While she go on to make regular appearances on Raw and SmackDown as a manager and authority figure, it's been a while since the popular superstar has shown up on television. Despite that, she's been keeping busy with a popular Twitch channel and has teased fans on several occasions lately that the door is open to her for stepping back in the squared circle sooner than anyone anticipated. As WWE would want Paige to give up her Twitch obligations, most fans believe she'll head to a different company, and they appear to be preparing for that by giving her name away. The NXT 2.0 and 205 live referee has been named Paige and even given a Twitter handle at RefPageWWE, despite the former Divas champion being at RealPageWWE. As a result, this feels like a passive-aggressive move on WWE's part, but it could be also a rib. Either way, Paige has responded to the referee on Twitter, and appears to be taking it in her stride. We'll let you know how the story develops, but if Paige is destined for bigger and definitely better things than another WWE run, she'll no doubt, one day have plenty to say about this. That's really interesting that the WWE would decide to give a referee, her name. I mean, granted, Paige is a common name, But I find that a little bit to be suspect to me. And yeah, it might be a rib at Paige. So, but hey, as WWE fails to realize, there are other promotions that these performers can go to and a lot of times be better taken care of. So just some other miscellaneous news I just want to share with you guys for today. Today actually marks 16 years since the passing of Eddie Guerrero, which is actually shocking to me that it's been 16 years. To me, honestly, it feels like it just happened yesterday. I remember vividly when I saw on Raw the In Loving Memory and watching just an emotional Raw that I mean, I honestly, losing Eddie Guerrero to me felt like I lost a member of my family. I was very fortunate enough that I got to meet Eddie Guerrero a couple months before he passed, because I was at the Great American Bash revamp when WWE brought it back in 2004. So he was in town with the other wrestlers, and he was at a car dealership close to my home kind of promoting the event. And I mean, he was just a good soul. Like, there are just certain people that you meet in life that you can just tell they're just generally a good person. And he just took his, and it was a long line of people at this event, and it was a hot summer day. It was in either June or July. I can't remember specifically, but he just took his time with each fan that was there. He didn't rush them or anything like that. And I remember we had a good little in-depth conversation for a good little while. But it's just such a shame that he passed when he did, because there's no telling what his career would have been like if he was still around today. But he is certainly, surely missed. And then the last little thing is WWE executive Bruce Pritchard recently discussed Triple H's recovery on an episode of his podcast, Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. He noted that the game is feeling better, and his quote is, "He's feeling better and he's coming along good. He's moving along, man, and more power to him." For those of you that are unaware, WWE revealed in September that Triple H underwent heart surgery after suffering a cardiac event that was caused by a genetic heart issue. But the WWE said that he was expected to make a full recovery, and he actually released a statement several weeks after that, noting that he was doing really well. So that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you so much for being patient with me and hanging tight with me, despite my voice going in and out. Like I said, don't forget to check out the weekend review tomorrow with me, and Matt will discuss everything that happened this week in wrestling and go over my experience and my husband's experience as well, because this was his first event that I got to take him to, so it was really exciting for us. So you guys be safe, and I'll be back next week.